Okay, we're going to go ahead and do my reading journal from 2022 flip through. Just a little overview, my Goodreads challenge, and favorite book of the year, if I made my challenge or not. And then we've got the bookshelf with the format. So physical book is purple, ebook is blue, audio is green, comic or graphic novel is a nice hot pink. If I didn't finish the book, if I DNF'd it, it's got a red star. And then these two here with the X's is that I started it in 2022 and I'm still reading it and haven't finished yet. So this one was interesting with writing all of the names. So I've changed that up for next year, but I do love that spread. And then we've got the books read challenge. So I was challenging myself to read 90 books. I read 160, so I made my goal. And then my monthly goals. For every month, I wanted to read a comic or graphic novel, a nonfiction, a classic, and a book of a series. And then just some reading prompts here, like read something every night, read with another person, read in a comfy spot, read outside by a tree, read something someone else picked for you, just some fun little prompts. And then here's my series overview. So these are all the series that I've started, and there's a heart for each one, and then the filled in heart is how many I have read of that series. So again, I have changed this up slightly in the 2023 reading journal, but basically only putting the series, not every series that I've started, but the ones that I intend or want to read in 2023. And my 22 books to read in 2022, just a bunch of books I've been putting off and I really wanted to get to. I read 1 out of 22 books, so not the best, but some of these made it forward, some of them didn't. And then my anticipated releases by month, and then I highlighted it if I went ahead and bought that book, what month it was coming out in, who the author was, and then my recommendations page. And the stars are the ones that I acquired. And then my stats page. So this is pixels of did I read that day. And then I went ahead and did formatting as well, which I'm not doing this next year because I do it every month, and so coming back here and doing it for the entire year was just tedious. I do have a version of this moving forward though, so this is tracking my star ratings and specific genres by month, color, so how many I read that month, and then my classic literature. So I had intended to try to read 1 classic every month, but I didn't. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my list here, and then I read a couple that I hadn't put in here, but I did not reach my read 1 a month goal. And then just a list of reading prompts, so like 5+ words in the title, an animal on the cover, a translated work, a quiet word in the title, a growth element, a collection, a body part in the title, new to you author, book on the cover, read around the world, which I am doing. Started it 2022. It's going to take a while. This is my comic book tracker that I wanted to, specific comic series I wanted to get to, and then how many volumes of each I did in fact read. So I have this moving forward, but again, I have revamped it. So best book of the month. So every month, so January, February, March, April, and so on through December. And then they got pit together for the semifinals round for the top 6. And then they went down to the top 3, and then book of the year, which is no surprise really because I absolutely love Throne of Glass. So I did read a lot of good books though this year. And then every month has a cover page with a daily read tracker. So this is where I would track if I read that day or not, and so that would be the pixel one back here that I just felt was tedious to do because it was basically double dipping. Where did it go? There it is. So it was just a lot to come back and do this on top of every month already having that. So, and then the best book of that month that I read, and then the genre read breakdown that I also did every month. And then this was Winterween. So 2022 we did Winterween January 3rd through 9th, and these were my 3 reads. And then we have the prompts here. I did not accomplish every one, but I did read those 3 in that allotted time period. And then I do like this spread. So these are the acquired books, or the physical books that I bought, or audio, or Kindle. So I went ahead and marked if they're audio or Kindle books, books I acquired throughout the year. And then they have a check mark by them if I read them. And the star here is that I intended to read or picked that book to read for one of the many reading challenges that I did, or they were a book club pick or a recommendation that I was trying to read that month. So here's the alphabet challenge, which I really enjoyed, and I am bringing this forward into 2023. I read A through Y, so the title of the book started with that letter. So L would be the last flight. I neglected the they or the A. So D is a dowry of blood. X was hard to find stuff, and so was Y. But Z was the only one I didn't get to, so hoping for better things next year. And then I listed all of my reads out that month in a spread, and then the star rating that each got, just for a nice visual. I'm a very visual person, so. And then new series are the new ones that I acquired and wanted to start or did start. So I only started, what, four new series of the ones that I had acquired throughout the year. I'm hoping to do better about that. And then my Harlan Coben spreads, because he's my favorite author. He's my auto-buy author. So I've read all of his standalones except No Second Chance from his backlist. And then I do have a couple newer ones that I still need to get to, and I need to finish the Mickey Bolitar series, which is the YA that he did. And then my Smut Salon book club for the bunnies, Katie Colson. So our month pick and what I rated it. I didn't read four books out of them, but I did put them in my carryover to next year. And then I started out doing this. It didn't last. It was just too much to do because I read too many. But this was the book itself. What the star rating was, if it was recommended by a person, and then just a little blurb on my thoughts. Again, it did not carry through. But then my letter from Queen Katie Colson for the bunnies was our first Duchess letter. Get back in there. Oh, there's a little slip of her address. We'll just tuck that back in. So I just wanted to keep that somewhere. So she sent me the stickers, and so I just decided that it needed to go in there. Ooh, and then the fun challenges. So the Buzzwordathon reading challenge is every month there is a prompt, and you try to read a book that fulfills that prompt. So what I did is I actually picked books at the beginning of the year and ended up not reading quite a few of them. So I went back through and redid this for this next year. Is I'm going to go as I read them and they fulfill the prompt, then I'm going to go ahead and put them in. So I actually had to re-add, or not re-add, but I had to add the books I actually did read that met the prompts versus the ones that I had originally picked that I did not actually read. And then the Rad Reading Challenge. This one was a fun one. So there's 9 prompts. A celebrity memoir, became a movie, a cover you loved, a hometown setting, graphic novel, a book about food, a book talk recommendation, a one-word title, and a high school reread. So this one was a lot of fun. It took me a long time to decide on a cover that I loved, but I really do like the Hooked cover. So that one's there. So each of these is one that I did read. Out of all of these, I think I only DNF'd these two, and I finished all the others. But this was a lot of fun to draw with the bees and everything. And then February, so the daily read, the genre breakdown, total reads, and book of the month, or favorite read of the month, and then the layout with their ratings and all the books I did read that month. And then the recommendation and the little blurbage. And then book bingo, this was a bunch of fun. So different prompts like disabled representation, short story collection, mythology collection, translated book, poetry, historical nonfiction, close friend recommended it, movie from a book, Canadian author, book about witchcraft, ghost stories, doorstoppers, it was 700 pages or more, award winner of your birth year, so 1986, classic retelling, a Native American author, graphic novel, and novella, biography. So I didn't get to a non-Western classic, asexual representation, a dusty TBR, an essay collection, immigrant story, or Stephen King book. So those ones I did bring forward into the new year to add to my bingo list. Then I did a Valentine's Day readathon, read horrors and thrillers. So this was a bunch of fun because horror and thriller is kind of outside my comfort zone. I'm more of a fantasy, mystery, and nonfiction. So I was really trying this year to break out of my comfort zone, or last year. So my read around the globe that I started is I colored in the countries that an author was from that I read. So I didn't get very many. I didn't update this one, but I did bring this moving forward, so I'm going to go ahead and carry it through until I finish it. I know I'll need quite a few years to probably do it, but it is a goal to read a book from an author from every country around the world. So another acquired book spread. So these down here are a bunch of audios that I acquired. I had audio and about a physical of that book. So, and then again, the check marks if I read it that year. So that really did show that I had a greater percentage of buying books than actually reading the ones that I was buying. But I did get a library card this last year and got a bunch of books from the library, so that did impact that. Moving forward, I do have a goal to read more of my physical TBR. So, and then March, total reads, book of the month, genre tracker that I read, daily read log. This one was really pretty. Washi tape from the washi tape shop. Then my March reads with their star ratings. And then my little blurbage and who recommended it. And this is a readathon that I found. It's a March Mythical Madness readathon. So you read mythologies and folklore. I did read 3 out of the 5 that I had intended to read, so that was pretty good. That was just in the month of March. And then my Le Fantasme book club. So this is Oliviareadsalatte and Mel Reads. They do it together. I did only read 3 as I didn't move forward with the Throne of Glass series. I am currently almost done with Crown of Midnight, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to read this series throughout the next year, hopefully. And then the ratings and the blurbages, again, that didn't last. So my book club for How to Train Your Gavin, so the month, the pick, and if I read it, what my star rating was, if I DNF'd, which I did DNF, March and April's picks. I read July's pick, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. That actually ended up being my longest book read at 880 pages. I have 3 books I haven't read yet. I have physically Hummingbird Salamander, which we brought into January, so that is on my January TBR. Another acquired book list. This one, there was a Kindle, Kindle sale on Amazon, so I got a few of those. And then again, I checked it off if I read it. April, my birthday month, which was one of my best reading months. I read every day except 2. And then my genre tracker and my best book of the month, which was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Super cute. Loving that series. So far, it's a duology. I don't know if it's going to continue or not. My April reads. So Oliviareadsalatte did not quite a book club where we did like cozies. That didn't last very long, and I only read these two. The Citadel with Melreads, these were all the picks, and I read 3, 4, 5 of them. So the rest of them have been carried over into the next year. So I have a carryover reads from 2022 to 2023 in my next year's reading journal. Again, another required book spread, because buying books is a hobby that I like. And then my blurbs and who recommended them and my ratings for the reads that month. Different things that were sent to me in book mail. And then our first weekend hopathon, readathon for the bunnies. And the books that I read that weekend. Super fun. More stuff that was sent to me. Citadel weekend readathon. Read those two. And then more stuff that was sent to me. Spring Fling-A-Ween, which was bringing Halloween into other parts of the year for spooky vibe reads. So I read a couple of those. I was actually on vacay in Vegas with the parents, so I didn't read very much, but I managed a little bit. And this is May. Genre reads, daily reads, didn't do too great. Total reads, I only read 6 books, but I think May was my worst as far as the few amount of books that I ended up reading. Again, the blurbage and the star ratings. More acquired books. Don't judge me, I know it's a problem. My June spread, which was really cute. I liked the lighter, fun colors, like fantasy is kind of where I was going. The genre reads, total reads. Hooked was my favorite book of that month. Didn't do too horrible on reading, but not that great either. June reads. So this is when I stopped doing the blurbs, but I still did the star ratings. More acquired book spread. Is that one? Yeah. Okay. And then the weekend readathon for the Citadel in June. My July reads, I did 18, which was really good. It's a nice bounce back from June, so I only didn't read like 5 days out of the month. Total reads 18, so that was good. So here's all my reads. So I had quite a few DNFs this month. DNF'd 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. DNF'd 7. Read graphic novel, manga, comics, graphic novel. So that was fun. Again, the blurbs stopped, but the ratings continued. Summerween, week-long readathon. So I had a goal of reading 5. I didn't finish House of Leaves in that week, but I did get the other ones, so that was really nice. Our prompts here. I started this. I did not continue with it, and I didn't carry it on, so this is my DNF spread. Moving forward, I have Try Your Bookshelf and a library tracker, so books I grabbed from the library. And so in that, I'll mark whether or not I DNF'd it, finished it, what I rated it, what my percentage completed was, that sort of thing. But this was just too much to bring forward. More acquired books. This was the last one of the year. Ratings, no blurbs. So this was my library books. Again, I'm not bringing this forward as far as the covers go because it's just a lot more hassle, and I want a more list-oriented option. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward for next year, is just go ahead and have a list of books that I check out, and if I finish them, if I read them, if I DNF, that sort of thing. Citadel weekend readathon. I read these 5. I know for a fact I DNF'd Idaho. Could not get into it, didn't like it at all, which was a bummer because that's where I live. My August was super simple. Again, only didn't read 5 days, so that was really good. I had a total reads of 20 books, so I did pretty good. Read a lot of nonfic. Throne of Glass was August, so that, had to win. So yeah, this month was very diverse in the books that I read. But Viola Davis's Finding Me memoir, that was really, really good. And The Stranger Beside Me, the story of Ted Bundy, that was an interesting read because I hadn't known that much about it. And then The Sex Cult Nun, again, that was another nonfic of a girl who was the granddaughter of the founder of a sex cult and how that whole thing developed her life story. So that was really interesting as well. So this is where I figured out I needed to save some pages. So I have multiple here on each page with their star ratings. Again, no blurbing. Just because it became too much. I was reading too fast. And Becca's Bookoplathon, this was a lot of fun. So you roll your dice and you move around the board, and whatever it lands on, this is what you do. And then little chance cards and community cards, and then they each have something on the back, and so that helps you pick. So these were my rolls, and then what book I picked for that roll. And that was fun. I hope to do that more moving forward. September, I went with a little bit of a Harry Potter theme, as you could see. Tessa Bailey's Hook, Line, and Sinker was my favorite read. I did decent on reading every day. Total reads was only 8. That's my reading tracker. So short books, poetry, DNF'd 1, 2, 3, 4 books. I got over halfway through Pride and Prejudice, which is funny considering it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. The Graceling graphic novel was okay. I love the book, so I mean, I had high expectations going in, obviously. So these are the ones that I finished with their star rating. If I counted it as read, even if it's a DNF, if I got more than 30%, I counted it as read. Books I started this month but didn't finish, and books I started and DNF'd that month. So that was kind of cool. And my October stats, total reads 18. Daily read tracker was probably about half the month. I went heavy on the graphic novels this month. I just was starting to get a little burnout, so I dove into my manga pretty hard. But these two were really good. YA-ish. Mary was quite interesting. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, that was my high school reread. And then this was my nonfic, The Splendid and the Vile. That was very interesting about Hitler and Churchill and that whole situation. So here I got the star ratings, and I put all of the manga here of that series that I read, whereas on this page I only did the first book of that series. And then I did have 2 DNFs that I didn't count because my percentage wasn't high enough, but they're possible that I might go back and try them again in the coming year. Monster Mash Weekend Ween for Halloween with Oliviareadsalatte and Gabbyreads. I just did these 2. This was my physical, my audio, and then a couple manga. And we only had 4 prompts. And then November, Legendborn was my favorite. Did pretty good on reading every day. Nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different genres. So that's pretty good as far as diversity goes. I like the color palette this month, like of the books themselves. It was really pretty. And then again with the star ratings, and if I DNF'd them, I did DNF 2 that I didn't count as read because I didn't get far enough in them. And then my December, Year of the Reaper, that was my last book of the year besides manga. It was my last book. Probably got about half of the days read. Read 13. Again, 9 were manga, so it was pretty heavy manga month. And here's my layout. I started Berserk, and this is 3 volumes in 1 in the deluxe edition. Love, love, love it. Moriarty is one of my favorite mangas going in to my new manga era. Upgrade by Blake Crouch, very good. House of Hunger, quite interesting. Atlas 6, bored. So I DNF'd that, but Year of the Reaper was a really fun read. It was really quick. Not like super in depth, but it was good. And then again, my star ratings. And then at the back, I went ahead and did my stats. So my year in books, I did 160 reads. It was 40,371 pages read. My format's pie, so obviously most of it was physical. 7% was audio. Digital was 19%. So I think I only got like 4 ebooks. Page number count, most of them were less than 300 was 60%, 300 to 500 pages was 34%, and over 500 pages was only 6%. Genres I spent the most time with would be fantasy, followed by manga, horror, mystery, thriller, in pretty close succession. Star ratings, mostly 4 stars, which is a really good reading year. So out of all of them, my average rating was a 3.72 for the year, which is pretty good. And then my most read authors here, a lot of them are going to be manga, so I'm not going to try to pronounce their names because I'm going to mess it up. And then my longest book I read was, again, Christopher Paolini's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, 880 pages. My least, or shortest book, I should say. It counts like my comics and my mangas and stuff, so book, I'd have to go back and actually look that up. Then fiction versus nonfiction, I did 16% nonfiction reads and 84% fiction reads, which is a pretty good slice in the nonfiction era. And then my genre breakdown was all of the genres. You could see fantasy is definitely my top. Again, followed by manga, mystery, horror, thriller. And then I got coming in over 10 is YA, romance, comic, LGBTQIA+. And then under 10, I've got some literary, classic, sci-fi, historical, memoir, short story, graphic novel, contemporary. I don't read too much of those. And then I did try to read some poetry, some history, crime, religion. Middle grade's not really my thing. True crime, I think I only had like 2. Some biography, autobiography. Those are really interesting to me, especially when you get the audio and the author reads it. So that's really cool. Like Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. That one was one of my favorite reads, the celebrity memoir. It was like you were just sitting down having a conversation with him. So it was really awesome. And then here is my little stats. I was trying to track my physical TBR, what I read off of it. So I had 50 books that I physically owned. 7 graphic novels that I owned, 17 comics, and 21 manga. And then audio for Audible on Amazon, I got 25. From the library, I checked out 16 physical books and 15 audios. I read 4 ebooks for the year and got 7 of my audios off of Scribd. I read 47 total audios for the year, borrowed 2 books from my niece, and special edition from book boxes that I read that I own physically, is I managed to read 4 of those. So just some little facts that I wanted to know about for my reading year, and I will hopefully have something very similar to this moving forward into the next year as well. So again, this is just a nice little flip through of my reading journal. I hope maybe you could take some inspiration from it. I've got a lot of inspiration off of Pinterest and YouTube, and I found some new YouTubers to follow for journals, so that's a lot of fun moving forward. A lot of people on Discord and YouTube and stuff is sharing our reading journals, so that's a lot of fun. So you get a lot of inspiration from each other, and you get to share your stuff, which is always a lot of fun. So I do have a TikTok and an Instagram, and this will be up on YouTube, so go ahead and check out my other socials if you want to follow me. I have some still image references of some of these, and then my 2023 flip through will be coming soon. So thanks for coming, friends.
Now my wheels in motion and my